taking the time to join us today from the Legislative Building in Regina. We'll have Premier Scott Moe, as well as Saskatchewan's Chief Medical Health Officer, Dr. Shahab, and then we will take some time for questions. Premier? Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here this morning. Last September, during what was a very serious Delta wave in Saskatchewan, our government introduced a proof of vaccination requirement in a number of workplaces and public venues across the province. When we first introduced this policy, I would be the first to admit that I was reluctant to do so. I knew there would be much benefit from a policy such as this in the fight against COVID and at that time the Delta wave, but I also knew that that benefit would come with significant cost. I knew that this policy would create deep divisions in our families, in our friendship groups, in our province, and in communities across Saskatchewan. But people would potentially have different access or rights based on what their relative vaccination status would be. That is the result of that policy. So what was actually a pretty extraordinary step to take in this province effectively created two classes of citizens. To my knowledge, this province has never done anything like that before in our history for any vaccine, or for any other reason for that matter. For a time, during that Delta wave, I do believe that the benefits of this policy most certainly did outweigh the costs. There were many more people that went out and got vaccinated, their first dose, their second dose, and ultimately, more recently, their third or booster dose. And COVID transmission was significantly reduced as we found our way through the Delta wave last fall. But today, as we deal with a very different strain, the Omicron variant, the benefits of this policy no longer outweigh the costs. Many more people today are vaccinated than they were prior to us putting that policy in September the 16th. 85% of those that are eligible in this province have received their first dose. 80% of those that are eligible have received their second shot and are now fully vaccinated, and nearly 50% of those eligible have also went out and received their booster dose. While vaccines are so widely available in Saskatchewan, and they will remain widely available across this province, lately vaccine uptake has slowed to some degree. And vaccination, as we know, is not preventing transmission of Omicron like it did with previous variants. And I will continue to encourage everyone and anyone that is eligible to go out and get vaccinated, your first, your second, and ultimately your booster dose, as vaccines most certainly do provide significant protection against serious illness from Omicron or any other variant. However, if someone makes a different choice about whether or not they are vaccinated, that's their right, and this government is going to respect that right. Someone makes a different choice about whether or not they are vaccinated, that's their right, and this government is going to respect that right. Today, with Omicron, the benefits of the proof of vaccination policy no longer outweigh the costs. This policy most certainly has run its course. So it's time for us to take a step back in living with COVID and to make every effort to get our lives back to normal. It's time for us also to heal the divisions in our communities over vaccination. Those divisions are in our families, they're in our communities, but they are across our province and they're across this nation. It's time for us to come together as families, as friends, as communities, and as a province and as a nation, and it's time for us to reach out and support one another. Let's not judge our neighbor because they may be vaccinated or because they may not be vaccinated. Let's not judge our neighbor if they should choose to wear a mask or not to choose to wear a mask in the weeks ahead. Whenever someone is doing their own personal risk assessment, which we have asked them to do in this province for a period of time now, they're doing that assessment for themselves, possibly for their family, and they may come back with a different decision than what you might arrive at. And that different conclusion, albeit maybe different from where you have landed, should not be judged. It should be respected, and it should be accepted. It's time for each of us as individuals now to make a conscious effort to treat everyone in our daily lives that we encounter equally. It's also time for the proof of vaccination mandate to end. So effective at midnight this Sunday, February the 13th, all provincial proof of vaccination requirements will end. In Saskatchewan businesses, in venues, and provincially regulated workplaces, this means that the proof of vaccination or the negative test option that we provided will no longer be a provincial requirement. Starting on Valentines Day, February the 14th, this will be the case. This will leave one remaining COVID measure in place, and that is indoor masking. That measure remains in effect until the end of February. I want to thank all of the businesses and the venues and the workplaces who have shifted course throughout this pandemic to keep their employees and to keep their customers safe, and all of those who implemented and administered the proof of vaccination or proof of negative test policy over the course of the past few months. Thank you for doing your part in our fight against COVID. And again, I want to thank everyone who made this choice. It is a wise choice to ultimately go out and get vaccinated. You are keeping yourself safe. As we move into this next phase, the phase of now living with COVID, I would ask you to continue to make wise choices. This is paramount to our success. Go get your booster dose if you haven't already. Stay home if you're not feeling well. Do a rapid test from time to time. If you do test positive, we want you to stay at home for 5 days. But let's all, in the meantime, also get back to living our lives normally and doing the things that we all love to do. And let's all make that extra effort to be just a little more understanding of others when we may disagree. In fact, this may well be our largest challenge in getting our lives back to normal in our families, in our communities, in our friendship groups, and in our province. We must realize that it's okay for us to disagree. We do hold strong opinions in this province, and those are on full display often. But we can disagree without being disagreeable. Don't lose a friend to COVID. You might have to take some time apart, but keep that door open. Time and time again, Saskatchewan people have proven that we achieve great things when we come together and when we work together, and when we accept those who may have a different opinion than we do, and when we respect others' individual decisions. We are poised to lead this nation through COVID, and we are poised to lead the world in an economic recovery in this province. So let's work together. Let's work together to heal some of the divisions. Let's understand that we can forgive our friends, our family members, maybe even ourselves, if that is necessary. Let's work to heal those divisions. Let's come together, and let's once again be ourselves in our communities. This is a great province. This is a united province. But most importantly, this is a tolerant province, and we are going to need all of that tolerance in the days ahead. It's time for us to move. Thank you. Dr. Shahab, do you have some comments?
Thank you, Premier. I'll just clarify a few things. Obviously vaccines remain available, 5 to 11 first, second doses, additional doses as required for severely immune compromised. 12 and older, as announced today, booster doses are available. For 12 to 17, they are available 5 months after the second dose. So most 12 to 17-year-olds got this second dose July, August, so there shouldn't be any problem accessing that. It's just a reminder here that the online booking now is defaulting to 5 months. So if anyone 18 and older wants a booster before 5 months, they can call SaskVax 1-833-727-5829 to get a booster. If you're 18 or older after 3 months, but 12 to 17, they can get a booster after 5 months. However, 12 to 17-year-olds who are severely immunocompromised have been eligible earlier for a booster at 3 months, and they will continue to be so. I think that is all just a reminder that outbreaks will publicly be reported only in long-term care homes and personal care homes, similar to other respiratory outbreaks. And public health will continue to investigate in those high-risk settings, including personal care homes, shelters, and group homes. And just a reminder that Thursdays is when the weekly dashboard, as we discussed last Thursday, will be posted for a summary of case numbers and trends over the last 7 days. But that will be up till Sunday of the previous week. So it'll be a weekly epidemiological survey summary posted every Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Dr. Shahab. We'll now move to questions, starting in the room.